All right, as you guys know, last week I showed you guys a 21 F150 King Ranch where it was already starting to set front left wheel speed sensor codes, and it was saying it was going 148.56 or whatever it was mile an hour sitting still. We pulled apart the rotor caliper, pulled the sensor and everything off of it, inspected it, seen that the face had a little notch in it where a bunch of debris and stuff had started to accumulate inside the wheel bearing itself. How, I don't know. And it was all milky inside the wheel bearing instead of that nice plush brand new blue looking grease. We compared it to the passenger side, so we got that fixed, put a whole new wheel bearing assembly and stuff in it. But I had to come back to that car. Parts finally came in, and I was able to get one of the issues. It says GPS offline, and it has satellite radio function errors. Something happened to this truck. We don't know if it's a garage door, if it was the transporter or something like that. This is a auction vehicle. It's absolutely flawless. There's really nothing wrong with the vehicle. And a lot of times you can get good deals at auctions. Well, this person had got this vehicle at an auction, a real good deal. And this was the plastic trim piece on the roof on the driver's side. I popped the rear plastic C-pillar plastic out of there. It all just kind of unsnaps, and just twist it around very carefully and pull it out of there, and then unsnap your headliner along the back where the window is. Just kind of pop it down, pop it down, pop it down. You can get your hands up in there with a little ratchet, and you can undo the little 10mm nut that goes inside here that holds all this together. And then look what happened when I pulled it out. It's all corroded. The top of it's busted open. This is the single connector. On the other side, the passenger side rear, is a double connector. If you look, there's water literally dripping out of this. It's no good. It's marked L, left side for driver. The single green connector is the satellite radio. Here's the new one. Nice, clean, no cracks, nothing jammed down on top of it. It looks like a garage door, or the transport company smashed it. We don't know. So the part number for the satellite radio antenna is LC3Z19A390H. On the passenger side, which I'll have that out here in a minute, it's all smashed in as well, and there's a nick going out of the corner. It looks like this. It's got a double connector, yellow and like this purple violet color, and it actually has an R on it for right side. See how it's nice and plush and everything's still sealed. This would be considered the GPS antenna, and the part number for that is right here, LC3Z19A390F. And that's what those two pieces are. So be careful pulling it out of your garage, having somebody transport your shit, because this is what ends up happening. GPS goes offline and you lose your satellite radio. Just real quick to explain close. You will, when you get this out of the truck and you're ready to put the new one in, you'll just drop it right down in the hole. After you clean off the area where the old one was at, you'll just drop it right down in the hole, and what will end up happening is these little plastic tabs will actually hold it in. Once you get it where you want and everything plugged in, you can reach up in there with a ratcheting wrench, and as you ratchet this bolt, it will suck this metal tab down in, and it will start taking these little fingers and running it down that ramp, and it'll open the fingers up until it will start to pull this down into the roof of the vehicle. And those fingers, once they make contact and come out onto the metal and you're not moving anymore, you're done. You don't need to go anymore. At that point, you can stop. When there's no more movement, you're not running this down until it's completely flat, right? You're just running it down until it makes contact, and a little bit more until this thing seals against the rubber and pulls itself all the way to it. So let's go out there and I'm going to show you how I do this. You see how I got this side pulled out? The seatbelt was still run through it, and I kind of laid it off to the side, pulled my plastic trim up right here, and kind of laid my weather seal and stuff out of the way. And then if you look up in here, you can see where that connection and stuff is. and a green connector right back there. And then this right here, that's the new one that I just put on there. Look at the fingers. Let me see if I can get a good shot of the fingers up in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me try to get a little closer. Well, there it is right there, but you can't. You see the finger right there? Kind of how it's pushed out onto the metal. That's how you want it. There's no reason to go any further than that. Right there, you're done. All right, this is what the other one looks like with the double connector. It's all corroded underneath around all the pads and stuff. And a big old hole in the top of it. Full of water. No wonder why you don't have any satellite GPS. All right, the new one's going on. I've got the assembly and everything. You see how that plastic connector's there? Now watch this when I push it down. See how that snapped in? When you look up inside there, that green connector's run back right there. You're gonna tighten that thing up until those feet compress and go all the way up against the metal up there. So, let's start tightening it down. All I'm using is about a 6-inch ratcheting wrench. By Expert, you can find whatever type of ratcheting wrench you want. And I like the curve on it because it kind of keeps it down away from the sunroof drain track. So, this is, if you're looking for this exact one, it's an E113303 from Expert. But I'll show you now. I'm going to put my hand up in here and get this wedged on there and I'll start tightening it down. When you first start tightening everything down, it's going to be like this, and all of a sudden that wiggling around is going to stop. Yeah, you know what? You're going to get a little crease in the headliner. It's going to happen, but when you go to put everything back, it's going to go away. It'll shrink back into its position. It's fine. You don't want to freak out about it, then you're going to have to pay somebody 4 or 5 hours to pull the interior out of the vehicle to get the headliner out. So you're going to have to relax with that, you know. Don't get too bent out of shape because you see a little crease in the video. I'll show you what it looks like when it's put back together and it all goes away. You can see now I'm about halfway there. It's not moving around nowhere near as high. You can't see as much as the green as I'm ratcheting it back and forth. It'll keep getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And then right here in a second you should see it's actually going to stop moving. There it goes. Keep going. Sorry. Pretty much there. It's almost there. I mean, anyway, a couple more turns probably. Just got to get a feel for how tight it is with the seal and everything that's around it, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's just a matter of it ain't moving at all anymore. Let me feel for it real quick. I'm gonna leave it right where it's at because if you keep going, you'll actually start to make it loose. You'll stretch the metal out and it'll start to lose its form. You don't want it to flatten out all the way because if it flattens out all the way, then it'll start bouncing. You want it to kind of have some of its finger rigidity where it comes out, makes contact with the metal and you don't want to flatten it out completely. You flatten it out completely and then it loses its spring action and it doesn't stay tight anymore. And now you can see that it's tight to the roof. And now we can get inside this area, plug all this stuff back in. So this right here goes up and around this right here. Gotta pull this down a little bit. There's a little hole right back here. Let me put it in. I need 2 hands for it. And there you see, purple connector and the purple connector, blue connector, or the yellow connector and the yellow connector, or mustard, whatever you want to call it. And you're done. Now you put everything back up. Go ahead and tuck this back where it goes. You see that crease that was there now? It's all gone. It'll settle back down. Any residual like that you may see, put everything back up and it'll relax itself back out and the crease will be gone. Unfortunately, this is what you have to do, because if you wanted this whole thing pulled out of there so there was no crease, which would be almost impossible to not ever create one, you'd have to pull, I think it's the front seats and the center column, I don't know what it is. It's like you got to pull a bunch of stuff out of the front of this, and it ain't worth all that. The crease will go away. Relax. So now I'll go ahead and slide all this stuff back behind there, see where everything clips in here, and I'll get it back together, and then we'll look at the GPS. All right, and there you go. Looks like I was never even back here. Masterwork, baby, masterwork. There we go. Navigation is back. So we don't got the red arrow down there, or the red circle with a line through it saying no nav. Now we have nav. We're inside the building. I couldn't even get this before attempting to connect, but every once in a while you'll see something pop up right here. It'll say attempt, it'll blurp like it's picking it up. So we got our nav, we got our satellite back, and we're not subscribed to anything. So yeah, let's pull outside real quick. Now we're outside and we have Sirius satellite. There we go, boys. We are on board. Got satellite signal, so now it's actually telling you that we're connected. You just got to call and subscribe, and we have our maps back. That is how you replace your GPS satellite antenna and your Sirius satellite antenna, your what they call XM radio antenna. That's where those are. The driver's side is your Sirius XM satellite antenna. The passenger side is your navigation GPS. Thanks, guys. Be blessed.